Is your at kicking you out?
I'm still alive, but I felt that.
Welcome to the Melanated Files. In this series, we highlight and share the stories of black people from across the globe. Remember to subscribe to this channel for weekly videos and also follow us on social media for regular updates. Let's get into the interview. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Melanated Files. My name is Ranzo and I'm your host, and today we're joined by Ayesha Raymond. She is a pro wrestler right here in Tokyo, Japan. Well, technically Kawasaki right now, and we're gonna get into her story right now. Ayesha,
yes.
Tell the world who you are and why are you in Japan?
My name is Ayesha Raymond. I'm the female predator Amazon, and I'm right now in Japan wrestling for a Joshi company called Seedling. I've been Seedling now for 6 months, and I've lived in Japan for 6 months.
So this is your second time in Japan, right?
This is my 5th time in Japan.
Okay.
I recently came in 2013, wrestling for another Joshi company at the time. And Seedling invited me last year for their company for a month in July. I stayed, I loved it. And I came back for 3 months, which then turned into 6. So I've been here for 6 months. It's an ongoing thing, because even when I went back home at that time, it was like, I kept in contact with everybody. I'd get line conversations all the time. And phone me, I'm Amazon, Ohio gozaimasu, I want to come home.
And you said that your Japanese is actually getting pretty good. You did a speech last night.
Yes.
Right? To open like the match, right?
Yes.
So tell us about that.
I did. Every Seedling show has an opening ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the opening ceremony, they introduce the owners of the company. So the main wrestlers of the company, which are Nane-san, Arisa Nakajima, Yoshiko, and Natsuki. And they invited me to do the opening ceremony for the very first time. And I had been learning Japanese when I came before previously, and then constantly and continued it on and learned even more when I was here for 6 months. So they let me come out and be a part of the opening ceremony as their very first based gaijin. I'm their very the only gaijin who's predominantly based with Seedling. And I came out, I introduced myself as Konnichiwa, Nakajima Arisa desu, and everybody started laughing because obviously I'm not Arisa Nakajima. I'm Amazon. And they let me tell the entire audience that was going to be my last ever Shinkiba match. So Shinkiba the first ring. And everybody went, I'm like, yeah, sumimasen, Amazon, return home back to the UK. And I said, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, thank you. I like the fact that I've met every single one of you. You know, Seedling has been my family for the 6 months that I've been here. I was like, arigato gozaimasu, and I'm choking up as we're saying it, just like last night, and I started crying.
Oh, snap,
I was bawling, and my senpai Nane-san turned around to me and went, Amazon, it's supposed to be female predator. No cry. I'm like, I'm still saying sorry. And, you know, I got to go, Yakuza, okay, let's get D, which is their thing that they do. And everybody just gave me a round of applause, which I didn't expect. Because obviously, you know, I'm the big bad monster. And it was just it was amazing to be invited into their country, into their company, into their lives, into their world. And this was me done for 6 months of being here, and I'm balling now, but
So you said Joshi, right?
Yeah, Joshi wrestling.
So that's like the female wrestlers in Japan?
Yes.
That's what they call the federation? Is that the federation or
no, it's the name of female wrestling in Japan. So we have normal professional wrestling, and then you have the Joshi style of wrestling, which is what we do.
Okay, so where does the name Amazon come from, right? Because you're saying, the female predator, the female Amazon, right? Yeah, so where did that moniker come from?
I've always been big. Like, the funniest story is, I'll say this on camera, when I was born, I was 2'9", and I was tiny. I was born at 21 weeks, I was 2'9", I was small. I was in hospital for, I think it was like 10 months. And my mum had to go back and forth. I was born in Homerton Hospital in North London. My mum was a nurse there as well. She became a sister, but that's a whole different story. But, you know, I was tiny. And as I got older, I was always the biggest person. And then when I started wrestling, they dubbed me the name of Amazon, because compared to everybody else, like, I'm over 6 foot tall. I am the Amazonian. And even especially when I come here, I'm twice everybody's size, everyone's size. So I've become the Amazon, and, you know, it just stuck. And I guess in terms of communication wise, especially my name Aisha, it's easier to pronounce than Aisha. I guess.
Okay. So Amazon, like, and I was asking her about her experience in Japan, right? On the trains, because everything is smaller here.
Yes.
All right. So do you have any stories about, going around Japan and something being too small for you? Like, I think you said, like, when you're taking a shower, you're hitting like the walls every 2 seconds when you're turning around.
I love Japan, but everything is small for me. It's the trains are small. I hit my head every time I walk into a train. My apartment walls, like the framings are small. I hit my head every time I go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Kitchens, like everything is like an arm, shoulder space away from me.
Yeah.
I am so tall that I can lie in bed, reach my arm up, and turn my light off.
What?
That is how amazing it is sometimes. And then being next to like the girls that I wrestle.
Yeah.
When we're walking out on like the streets of Tokyo and streets of Kawasaki and just generally in Japan, and they're trying to give me a tour around, it's the height difference that most people are amazed from. It's literally they stop here and then Amazon's up here.
Yeah.
So everything, I get used to it after a while. Like, there's a lot of things that have adjusted to the international style of stuff, but mostly everything is small. Chairs are small. Buses are small.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one thing about Japan that kind of grinds me just a little bit.
Yeah.
Size, I'm a big girl. Size portions. So what everybody will buy one of, I will have to buy 5. So you see this bottle of water? If I buy it, it offends me ever so slightly, and because I'm a cheapskate East Londoner, I know that I can go to a store and get that price 3 times the size. So my body won't buy it. If I physically tap my card on that or put money in there to buy it, it might make me cry. Like, really, it will make me cry.
What is it like, wrestling in Japan versus back in the UK, right? What is that like?
It's like everybody is now falling in love with Joshi wrestling and the Japanese style of wrestling. Like it's integrating more into America. Like there are a lot of Joshi wrestlers now in WE, AEW, just showcase Joshi wrestlers on their debut show. And the style of wrestling is a lot more hard hitting. They call it strong style wrestling, even though wrestling. But it's a lot more action packed, where a lot of wrestling internationally is dramatism, entertainment, is what is called sports entertainment as well. Over here, it's a lot more of a competitive sport.
Okay.
Like if you watch a lot of Joshi wrestling, you will understand the difference. I beg you to watch the difference between Amazon in Europe and England and Amazon in Japan. You will see the difference. And when I come back, you will know the difference too.
And I think you told me that in Japan, you actually, it's a lot more, what's the word I'm trying to find? It's more real, or explain that. Like the hits are like harder in Japan versus back home. Explain that.
It's in hits and harder. I mean, everybody goes full force when it comes to wrestling in general. And it also depends on the style of the person. But the intensity, I would say, in a lot of the matches is upper level. Like I was always taught, a very famous British wrestler has always taught people to do, everything is you times 10. And when it's here, it's everything we've learned back home times 10 times 1,000.
Oh, wow.
So the intensity of the matches is a lot more full force.
Okay. So imagine like you're coming with that, plus you're like this tall over them. They're like, are they terrified when they see you?
I'm the monster.
Are they like kawaii and running away? Like, what's that like?
One of the first matches I had here, I had to do a electric chair drop. Well, just the hold of an electric chair drop from the top rope. And I grabbed one of the wrestlers and literally she went, cry, daijoubu, bang. It's fine.
Yeah, that was your first match, right?
But then obviously the height difference, like she's probably used to being picked up by people half my size. Yeah. So that's probably about 7 foot in the air to her. I could understand.
Wow. Yeah. So what got you into wrestling in the first place, right? So I knew that you did bodybuilding afterwards, I think. I thought it was first, but you said it was after you started wrestling. So what got you into wrestling in the first place? My
grandfather, who just recently passed, and my brothers, like we used to watch it when we were younger. It was me, my brother Jermaine, who I mentioned in the Mae Young Classic. I was a part of the first ever inaugural WE Mae Young Classic, and I mentioned him. He's legally blind.
Okay.
So our bonding was TV, weirdly enough, and video games. And my cousin Wayne and my sister sometimes, but she grew out of it, and my grandfather. And they used to watch boxing and wrestling. And that was our bonding moment on a Friday night, Saturday morning. It was Raw at night, Saturday morning, wake up and watch SmackDown. Yeah. And I just fell in love with it from then, because I watch cartoons for a living. I watch like action movies, but I saw wrestling and I was just like, I want to do that. Oh, wow. Nobody else does that. And I thought it was kind of cool that I was the only girl in like school who could do the crotch chop for DX and knew exactly what it was. Yeah. You know, it was all the brothers from Hogan, and I knew who Randy Savage was, and, you know, Jimmy Snooker, you know, it was just nice kind of being the only one and it being cool to me. Yeah. And then just watching it and seeing these really strong guys and girls, you know, kind of be superstars, but also be amazingly athletic at the same time. Yeah. But the problem was, is at that age, I wasn't. Segue into bodybuilding. I was a big girl. I'm Jamaican, as you know, so we like food. So as from a very young age, I would tell my brothers, you know, I want to be a wrestler when I was young, and they would go, it's fine. But then as I got older, you could see the physiques that they had and like the athleticism, just the conditioning. And that was my segue into like bodybuilding and physical sports. Like I personally didn't like PE. I didn't like physical activity. Oh, wow. I got like, it was a running joke in my secondary school, because for my last year of secondary school, I think I did one PE lesson. One? Because I just tried to find every way not to do it. I'm asthmatic, I use it as an excuse. Yeah. But I came to Japan when I was 20, and I saw the conditioning of those women. And I was like, by 20 years old, I shouldn't be like this. Okay. You know, I was 16 stone, that's 102 kilos, and I couldn't move sometimes, but physically strong in the ring and empowering and strong, but in terms of my conditioning, it was poor. Yeah. So I came back from my first ever tour and I started working as a trade. I was an apprentice. It was painful, getting paid flipping £4 an hour. What's a quid? That's like $1? For you, no, that's like $2. $2 an hour, £4. I think it was like £4.22 an hour to do the same job as somebody who was getting paid 6 or 10. And I was cleaning the gyms, learning about, I was doing my level 2 fitness instructor, which then became my level 3 personal trainer and my level 4. And it made me know how far I could push my body. And it also made me know how physically fit I was for like normal everyday today things, but not in terms of being an athlete. And that's what, that was the kind of segue. And then my coaches kind of pushed me, not pushed as in like an intensive sense or kind of violently towards like bodybuilding competitions, because that was also the physique of a wrestler. And then I did a couple of bodybuilding competitions, which I'm quite proud of. You know, I got my medals. And then also to be a wrestler, I did beauty pageants, learned how to walk in heels. First time. And I commend these girls, like they were born and bred from the age of 5, how to put makeup on and, you know, walk in heels and look prim and proper and learn how to pose. But it wasn't me. Like I did it and it was done. And I was proud of myself and I was proud of them. And it was just beautiful how something that lasts 2 hours can bring so many girls together. But I did it for a reason. I did it because I had to learn that something my trainer always taught me: if you want to do this, you want to be a professional wrestler, you know, it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. So everything, it's all well and good being good at the stuff in the ring, but if you want to go to the higher levels, you've got to be good at the stuff behind the scenes. To do things like this, like I could interviews, the procedures for interviews was quite difficult for me. I practiced something called hobo chic, where it was wake up in the morning, whatever fits that day, that's what I'm gonna wear. Hobo chic. I will have my own clothing line. I'm patent pending it now. But in order to do things like this and be good, like be a good representative, because it is sports and it's sports entertainment. So you're a role model, you're a TV personality in a sense. So you have to learn how to present yourself well. So things like bodybuilding, personal training, the pageants that I did helped me prepare me for that, as well as the wrestling training that I've been doing since the age of God knows.
So when did you decide to become professional, like, or pro? When was that? 15, 16, 17, 18, when?
17-ish, really 16, but I couldn't start training because I went to college, like everybody does. But I couldn't handle it anymore because I was being bred to read books, and then I did an art degree. I was into music, into performing arts, and I first went to Havering Sixth Form College. I did that for 6 months, and I literally went to my mom. I can't do this. Like it's not like it's not what I want to do. Like I promise I'll go back, but let me just find a wrestling school. And I found a wrestling school in London, which was taught by the FWA legend Justin Richards. And he took me under his wing, and he taught me everything that I needed to know. And from then on, I went to Robbie Brookside, who's now an NXT trainee, Frank Cullen, who trains in Scotland. Came to Joshi Wrestling, being trained by Nane-san and Natsuki Teo, and that was literally my progress.
So from the wrestling school, after that you went pro.
Yeah.
Right. So what about being a woman in wrestling? Is that a thing? Like, is it like, was there any stigma, any pushback, any challenges?
I mean, it's now we're experiencing something called the wrestling revolution. So there's like a resurgence when it comes to women's wrestling. They're being presented in a much more like main fashion, or a top fashion. There was the first ever female main event in WE for WrestleMania this year. And we had the first ever female pay-per-view in WE called Evolution. They did things like the Mae Young Classic. There are Joshi companies everywhere. There are women's companies, more women's companies now than there were. We have a saying amongst my friends that with the era of the fluffy boots and the boob tubes are over, like it's not time for the serious wrestlers. So now there's more eyes on women wrestling, and there are less it's weird because there are more girls. There are fewer places, but more opportunities. If that makes sense.
Understood. Okay. So, what has your personal experience been like so far, being a wrestler? What do you love about the sport?
I love the fact that you get to do things like this. Like you meet so many different people, and I can say that I've met so many different people, experienced so many different things, and it's all come from wrestling. It's really weird. Like even my friends, like I love the people who are near to my heart, who are truly my friends. Like I wouldn't have met them if it wasn't for wrestling, even though some of them aren't really involved in wrestling anymore. My other half at the moment, I would have never met him if it wasn't for wrestling. I currently live in Scotland. I know. From London, moved to Scotland. Don't ask. Didn't ask. But I wouldn't have met him if I didn't move to Scotland, because I needed new opportunities because I was wrestling in London and in the south for so long. I moved up to the north to get more opportunities. So I wouldn't have met him if it wasn't for wrestling. My senpais here, if it wasn't for wrestling, obviously wouldn't have met them. So many opportunities that I've had that I wouldn't have been able to do: bodybuilding, TV, interviews, sports in general. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I was involved in a netball. I did netball in school. And I did a charity netball thing in London before I left here. And I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for wrestling, because obviously they saw me as a wrestler. So it's opened so many doors, not just to do with wrestling, but to do with life in general. Traveling. Like I've seen most of Europe and been all around the world because of wrestling. And it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't that way. Still bracket hearts are require spice. Irataki maras. Oishi, I like it. It's nice. It's nice.
would you ever move to Japan officially? You've been here so many times, like 3 months at a time. This last time, 6 months you've been here. Would you call Japan home sometime in the future?
Oh, I call Japan home now. I'm not even lying to you. Like literally, like I feel more at home in my apartment in Kawasaki than sometimes I do in the place that I was born in, London.
How so? Why? Why is that?
I really don't know. I think it's because I get to do everything that I want to do without having any restrictions. Because I feel like in my part of the world, I think there are too many restrictions. Here, life is a lot freer.
Okay.
Like I think that's why some people gravitate towards Japan so much, because it's a lot more relaxed. It's like things are a lot more respectful in the sense, and they're a lot more forgiving as well to especially foreigners that come through. Like you can find a lot of stigma in some places in Europe and even in Britain. Like I'm British, I know that there are. I'm from London, I know that there is. There's a lot of stigma to a lot of integration and immigration. But here they're a lot more accepting and a lot willing to be patient with you, especially if you don't know the language. Like it took me a while, and they understood that I was even being apologized to because they couldn't speak English. And I'm like, but I'm in your country. Yeah. Like I'm in your country. For me to do the best in your country, I learn your language, not the other way around. But they're so forgiving towards that. Like I call Japan home. I really do. Like my heart is here.
All right. So what has your Black experience been like in Japan so far? Walking on the streets, being in the ring, people within wrestling and without wrestling, what has that been like for you?
Interesting, because they don't see many 6 foot tall Black women walking the streets of Tokyo, and they definitely don't see many 6 foot Black women wrestling. Because I think
are you the only one in Japan?
Right now, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
If there's another, please tell me who. It's my thing. But I think it's been more curiosity. There's been no negativity towards it at all. Like it's more, where are you from? Like it's weird because I don't know if it's because I'm of my skin color, they don't automatically assume English. It's always American or Canadian. It's like they don't, it's
no
not
African,
there.
they've never said African?
No, it's America. No. England.
Okay.
And then when I say Scotland, it's even worse. They're like, no, England. I'm like, no.
Do they even know about Scotland? Do they even know?
Sometimes no.
Okay.
That was one of the things when I got to the airport. Like I tried to, they saw him like because I've just recently moved as well. They saw that in my passport. It says that I live in Scotland. I live in Glasgow. Yeah. And they were like, Glasgow, England. I'm like, no, Glasgow, Scotland. Like it says Glasgow, Scotland. And I'm like, England. I'm like, no, Scotland. Yeah. But to me, it's not offensive. But I know if I was a born and bred Scottish person, it would be no Scotland. but no. It's like it's more curiosity than any kind of negativity whatsoever. It's more they want to know about you and where you're from, and what is your deal being here? Like why? Like why? Especially when I say that my family is Jamaican. They're like, Jamaica, sugoi, like good weather, good like food, everything. Like there's a lot of Japanese people, which I find amazing, and like it's interesting to see. They're so fascinated with the Japanese culture. My senpai, her sister teaches street dancing. In I have to remember where we were. It was somewhere between Yokohama and Kawasaki. I know that's like a long span of things, but she teaches street dancing, and they listen to a lot of rap,
hip hop.
Yeah, rap, hip hop, bashment music, which is amazing. They dance like the dances in Jamaica, and it's just fascinating to see. And they love the culture, and. True. And who doesn't? It's Jamaica. If you don't love Jamaica, there's something wrong with you. But like
she said it.
It's true. That's why you wear the colors. That's why you listen to music. But like it's so fascinating to see, and like especially there's in Dragon Gate as well, KZ. I love him. He's a Japanese wrestler, but he's so fascinated with the Japanese culture that he speaks in a Japanese accent. But
he's Japanese or Jamaican?
Jamaican accent. Sorry. He's so fascinated with the Jamaican culture and the Caribbean culture itself that he speaks in a Jamaican accent. Wow. He dresses in the colors. He has his hair done, and I'm like, you're beautiful. This is amazing. This is amazing to see. So it's just nice to see it. Like I said, it's more warming and welcoming and just general curiosity. It's all positive. than anything negative.
Okay. When you first came into the ring, right, on your first tour to Japan, right, being a black woman in the ring, what was the response like when they were introducing you to it? What was that like?
Oh, it's that because they've never seen someone my size before.
Yeah.
And there's not many girls that can do what I can do in terms of power. Like, I'm weirdly strong. I think it's because of my brothers. Like, when it segues back to wrestling, another reason why I learned is because I wanted to learn how to fight back. I was getting tired of being body slammed and like choke
by your
slammed.
brothers?
Suplex by my brothers. I couldn't do any of them.
Yeah.
So it was that learning, building up that strength. But it's seeing somebody my size against somebody like half my size.
Yeah.
Seeing someone, a lot of Japanese wrestlers are quite speedy.
Okay.
They're very technical, hard hitting strikes. Power isn't really
a thing here.
Yeah, it's not that it's not a thing in terms of somebody my size. It's not seen.
Okay.
It's more seen on the men's side of things because the men are my size. But when it comes to the women, it's more technical ability, speed, and striking. When it comes to me, it's just pure power.
Yeah, and your nickname as well is like one of them, of the many, is like Deadlift Diva.
The Deadlift Diva.
Look, guys, I saw a clip. We're gonna show you guys right now.
Turning into literally a bar brawl between Raymond and Harvey. Harvey is on top of the bar, and Harvey got caught. Look at the power of the female predator. Oh my God, body slam right on that hard floor of Huxley's.
That's how like strong she is, right? Maybe she might bust a move on me today. I don't know. I'm wearing white, but let's see what happens, right? I might be embarrassed on the internet, but let's see what happens. No promises yet.
And just for the record, my deadlift personal best is 210. So.
All right, almost 500 pounds. Wow. All right, so tell me, is there a philosophy that you live your life by?
Live to be different, and your difference can change the world.
Oh wow!
Because
nice.
I've always done things differently. I've never blended in with the crowd. If somebody finds something like popular, like it took me ages to watch Orange Is the New Black. Like literally, I
haven't even watched an episode.
See,
yet.
you're better than me. I waited for it took me ages to
What about
watch
Game
The
of
Wire.
Thrones? That's another one that everyone watches, but I don't.
What's
They
that?
might even dislike the video because I said that. It's like really popular apparently.
I know the answer, but everything I do is different. Like even my appearance, like my hair has always been different colors. I wear different earrings all the time. I never wear matching sets because it just irritates me. I'm just naturally very different. So, and I think any difference that anybody makes, it doesn't matter what it is, physical, mental, verbally, every difference makes a difference to somebody else. And your difference, no matter how big or small, does change a little bit of the world.
Yeah.
And as long as you just put it out there, it doesn't matter what it is.
I believe that too. I believe a lot of people are trying to be someone else or something that they're not, and they're robbing the world of their uniqueness.
Exactly.
I believe that too, right? So the next question is, what's the best life advice you've received so far?
Best life advice I've received is written on my arm. I don't read books that often, and when I was in school, we read Shakespeare and we read Othello, and to thine own self be true. I wrote it on my arm for a reason, because it's true. Like, unless you're true to yourself, what is the point of living? There's things that you yourself can offer the world. There's things that you as a being can offer the world, but if you aren't true to it, there's no point in doing it. You can pretend, or you can make believe to agree or disagree with other people just to go along with what they're doing, but at the end of the day, once those people are gone, you're left with their opinion and not yours. So if you're true to your opinion and true to yourself and true to everything that you've been doing, like in my road of wrestling or in life, there's been people against me for my choices, and there's people for my choices. But because my choices were my choices, that's when the split happened. And my trainer, Justin, has always stood by me because of that, because I've always been true to myself. And anytime I ever doubt myself, that he always writes to me, look at your arm. Just look at your arm.
Wow. Okay, so there's another one. And I like asking this question. If there was one thing you could change in the world, anything, what would it be?
Oh, if there was one thing I could change. About myself, or just generally in the world?
You could change anything.
people's negative perception of everybody else. If everybody else was just a little bit more accepting, and I know you can't accept everything that people do, but just a little, we'd all be a little bit happier. There wouldn't be so much violence. There wouldn't be so much crime. There wouldn't be so much hatred. Like, I don't know if you know this, you probably do. It takes more energy, power, and mental stability to hate someone than it does to love. It takes more power in your face to frown than it does to
more
smile.
Muscles and all that.
I just wish that people were a little bit more accepting. That's all.
And you know what could solve that easily is if they extend the same sort of like leniency to someone that they extend to themselves.
Yeah.
Because you know, sometimes someone does something that you do, right? But because you know yourself and you know the reason behind it, you know the struggles or whatever, you're like, okay, you know, I forgive myself. But when someone else does it, you don't have that insight, so you tend to judge more harshly than you do yourself.
Yep.
And I think if we did the same thing, like do unto others as you'd like them to do unto you, I think that is something that if we all did that, trust me, the world would be a better place by far.
I will come here like an hour before training sometimes and like just sit and think. Like my first week I was here, I literally I walked through here and I sat down there on the other side of the shrine and I just started crying.
Oh yeah?
Because it was, I got here in March 20th and my grandfather passed away New Year's Day nighttime in Jamaica.
Wow.
And I was supposed to be here in January, but because of a lot of stuff happened at home and then him passing, it was put off until March.
And you were close to your granddad, right?
Very. Like, that was like, my mum was a single parent, so my dad left us when I was like 6. And my grandfather was my father, my mother, my grandfather, my dad, my uncle, my sister, my brother, my everything.
What's one thing that you think Japan does really well that the rest of the world can learn from? Maybe where you're from. What can London learn from Japan?
Presentation with food. Like, it could be the most weirdest thing in the world that you're eating, but the fact that it looks so pretty makes you want to eat it. I'm from London, where you can get fish and chips that look just, it looks horrible, but when you eat it, you're like, okay, it's not that bad as long as I don't look. But the presentation of everything that they do, and like something like this, which is probably like old as time, and it looks beautiful, even though everything in here is kind of this, it's eroding away, like there's no grass on the floor. You can clearly see that it needs a lot of like maintenance work, but it's still kind of beautiful to just sit here and think. Whereas in like things in England, they'll just let things fall apart until it's fallen apart, demolish it, and then start again.
Oh wow. So do you think, did you have a misconception about life in Japan before you came here?
I didn't know that everybody was so friendly. I wasn't sure whether or not I'd be completely isolated because I knew that I was gonna, quote, Little Britain, be the only black in the village. But I didn't know that it was gonna be so welcoming and so warm. So that made me really happy. Like my misconception amongst everything was the total isolation, because that's what you get with some people complaining about. That because they're the only black person here, the only black person there, you know, they're the different one. It's hard. It really hasn't been. It's been easier, I think, to be fair.
Yeah. So what's the most interesting place you've been to in Japan so far?
So far?
Yeah.
The ramen village in Yokohama. It's just literally a building filled with ramen. Ramen and sweets, and I know it's for kids, but it makes me happy.
Yeah, so you like ramen?
Yes, I like ramen. I like all Japanese food. I do like ramen. I like udon. Udon noodles I like as well. Okay. But yeah, I do like ramen.
Tell me about your upbringing, right? When you were younger, maybe your fondest memory when you were a child.
My fondest memories when I was a child was with my grandparents. Like, I'm very few children who got to grow up with their grandparents, and it was beautiful. Like, we all used to live under the same house. Like, the house that my family is in now is the house that my grandparents bought when they first came to England, from Jamaica to England. And now my grandmother resides in Jamaica, but she travels every 6 months and comes to see us now.
Okay.
And that was us. That it was dinner on a Sunday, church on a Sunday. It was me, my brothers, and my sister, and my aunt, and my mom, and my grandparents in the same house just having fun. It was my nan cooking in the kitchen or baking, having to bake 2 cakes because Aisha would always eat one before dinner.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, she'd make one for me and then one for everybody else and me.
Yeah.
Because I'd stay in the kitchen with her and just kind of, so is that for me? Yeah. To be fair, when we go to Jamaica, now it's me and my cousin. We'll kind of, one will be on one side, Wayne will be on one side, and I will be on one side over her shoulders, and we just kind of look at the pot and go, so is it ready yet?
You're
Left
washing
me
the
alone.
pot. Left me alone.
Get out of the kitchen. No, ready, please.
Yeah.
But those are my fondest memories. It was just having my family around me. I mean, that's why being a wrestler is so hard for me sometimes, because I was always surrounded by my family. So as soon as I started wrestling and training, that all stopped.
So because you're always away, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say is your proudest accomplishment so far?
Being able to show my family that it was all worth it in the end. Like, they've seen things like this. They've seen things on TV. I was just recently signed to do a tour for OWE, which is Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, which are an affiliate for AEW, which is an upstarting company now in America.
Okay.
And for them being able to see all of that, me being in Japan for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, sometimes, soon to be a year.
Yeah.
That me being away for birthdays, funerals, Christmases, like I've spent Christmas and New Year's here once.
Okay.
The people that I was living with purposely did Christmas and New Year's for me because I wasn't with my family.
Okay, wow.
I've missed weddings, I've missed anniversaries, I've missed birthdays, and just them finally understanding, like, I didn't do it because I was trying to be, can I say prick?
Yes, that's good.
I didn't do it because I was trying to be a prick. I didn't do it because I was trying to be selfish. I was doing it so you could be proud of me. That for what I chose to live my life for, there was an end goal. And I've done it. Like, thank you for allowing me to do it. Like, I said to you, my grandfather recently passed away, and I stood over his coffin with, like, I was supposed to play the saxophone, but I literally stood in front of everyone and I said, the person that you are looking at now holding this saxophone, the musician, the performing arts person that left my grandfather a very long time ago, I'm not this person anymore. I wanted to say thank you to him, and I stood over his coffin and I said, thank you for allowing me to be this, being the multi-European champion. I'm right now a German federation champion. I've been a champion in Japan. I've been a champion in England. I've been a champion, all around the world. Thank you for allowing me to do that. Thank you for understanding, and, arigato gozaimasu.
Wow, that's amazing. Is there anything that you want to impart to anyone that's watching that they're thinking about pursuing their dreams, and maybe they're receiving some pushback from whether it's family, society, or friends? Anything that you learned along your journey that you can impart to them that you think would give them an additional boost or push to move forward? Always
listen to your heart. Like, I've listened to my head all the time sometimes. And my friends, one of my friends, I have a very close-knit friendship circle. And I've got one of my friends who I name my brother sometimes. And he always says, one of the worst enemies I have is my own mind. Don't listen to your head, listen to your heart. Like, my heart took me around the world, and your heart may take you God knows where places. Ignore this and listen to this all the time.
All right, nice. What would you say is your biggest achievement in wrestling so far?
Biggest achievement in wrestling? Just still being here. It's been 10 years. Like, some of my friends who I started with are now come and gone. And I've achieved so much and still achieving. Like, I've still got a couple of more things to show you, don't worry. They're coming. But I'm still here, and everybody else is gone. I'm still here, and I'm doing amazingly. And some people don't realize how amazingly I'm doing. They've tried to shut it down so many times. So many people have tried to drive me away. So many people have tried to make me feel bad about what I've done and who I am, but I'm still here. And that's an achievement in itself.
Okay, congrats.
Thank you.
So what about your ambitions going forward? What are you looking to achieve in maybe 5 years from now?
My achievement to achieve 5 years from now, to show the world, like, I know it may seem like I have a superstar aura at the moment, but I want to show the world that I am one of the best that you have ever seen. And I've done it in different parts of the world, but I want it to be known globally. Like, if I want to be that rock level where you type in my name and you know exactly who I am as soon as you see that sentence, it will come, don't worry.
Yeah, you've been around, right? So if you guys go online and like type Ayesha Raymond, you see a lot of stuff, right? And where can
Probably
people,
too much.
where can people find you online if they want to learn more or reach out?
Facebook is Amazon Ayesha Raymond. There's a nice big picture of me holding my mask. I have a predator mask, so yeah, you can't miss that. Twitter is Amazon Ayesha Ray, and Instagram is Amazon Ayesha Raymond. And any booking opportunities, if you want to throw them out there, Ayesha Raymond at outlook.com.
All right, so in Japan, this question I ask all the time, what do you think is the general attitude towards Black people here in your experience so far?
General attitude towards Black people, welcoming and completely positive. Like, it's more curiosity, like I said, and they just want to know, why are you here? Because it's on the other side of the world. Like, you're pretty far from a lot of things, especially your own branch of country. I know everything's multicultural now, but most Black people are where? Africa, America, and the Caribbean. And we're really far away from those places. So they just want to know what your deal is. And usually, most of the time, especially in my experience, it's all positive. And then for you being respectful to their company, like I always say to them, you've got such a beautiful country. And they're like, no, thank you. But why? Why Japan? I'm like, because your country is beautiful. But it's been amazing. Like, I wouldn't take this experience away from the world. Like, no one could take this away from me. But, and like I said, it's my home. Like, this, Jamaica, my homes. Like, that I couldn't ask for anything more than what I've been given here.
Oh, nice.
Ever.
What do you like the most about Japan?
I think they're still holding their ability to still hold tradition. Like the immense shrines. Like you can walk in Japan and walk into any street and there'll be a shrine anywhere. Yeah. And you can just sit there in your own thoughts peacefully. Like that's one of my things that I like doing. I just like getting lost and then finding different shrines. Okay. I found the 47 Ronin. That was amazing to find. I just thought it was a movie. That was beautiful. But like, I just love their grasp at taking and holding on to their culture, because there are so many countries nowadays like that have lost their like traditions and culture. Like I'm from London, and when we did the Olympics, I even said it to my sister, and my sister was so happy. But this was the conversation that we had. Every other country has their traditional parade, their traditional thing that they do. What are we going to do as English people? Because you can't have like people come out and wave Union Jacks around. Like what do we do as British people? The best thing we did was like bed knobs and broomsticks and stuff from Oliver. And I'm like, that's not tradition. Like if you go to other countries, there's so many different things. Like I'm not doing this to slag off like Great Britain at all. Like I'm British, I get it. But I just love the fact that Japan holds on to their tradition, no matter how integrated they are, because there's a lot of integration here, like especially from Western culture, but they still hold on to what they hold dear. They don't lose it at all, especially when in terms of respect, which is beautiful.
What about food? Because I know that you said that you like Japanese food. What's your favorite?
Natto. Natto ski. And everyone finds it really weird, but I love it. I love natto in omelets. I love natto with gohan, rice. Like, I just like it. The people, even like my Japanese friends, go, "What bad smell?" I'm like, no, daijoubu. Smell, I really do like it. And all the Japanese sweets. My favorite is dango.
Dango, yes.
Dango.
Yeah, same here. Really good, right? Natto is pretty strange, so I'm like, she's definitely unique, right? In your omelette, natto in omelette, okay?
It's lovely. Try it. Don't knock it till you try it. But then again, I'm also the person who lives in Scotland. I've never tried haggis. Can't do it. Cannot.
What's that?
Haggis is, let me get this right. It's sheep's intestines boiled with barley in a sheep's stomach.
Okay, that does not sound appetizing at all.
But my boyfriend goes, you need to try it. You need to try this. You can't knock it till you try it. It's like, no.
I don't know. Any funny stories about being black in Japan? Have you encountered anything that made you laugh?
One of my first times I came here, me and my friends went out in, I think it was either Shibuya or Shinjuku, and we were just looking for somewhere to have some like some fun because we'd never been around before. And I had a much longer weave back then. And it was like blonde at the end. This one's purple. Like it was blonde in the end, and it was quite long and straight. And these guys ran up to me, like behind me, and went, "Oh, Tyra Banks, Tyra Banks." I was like, "No, not even close. I'm probably like 4 stone heavier than her. Not as pretty and not as popular. Nearly my bank account isn't as happy as hers. No, sorry." They were like, "Oh no, Tyra Banks." I'm like, "No, trust me. Not Tyra Banks." And my friends were wetting themselves laughing in the corner because they didn't understand that what I was saying, and they just kept following us to the point where we got to the station and they were like, "Oh, picture," and then they pulled up 10,000 yen each to take pictures. I was like, "Please, no." Simo saying, "No money, please, no." And they just kept trying to give me the money so they could take pictures, and I was like, "Oh God, please, someone just help me." My friend had to grab me by the arm. I went, "Arigato," and then we just went. And then I didn't know enough Japanese to say, "I'm really sorry. I am not who you think I am. Please stop. You're making me feel uncomfortable." But there was one for you.
What's your least favorite thing about Japan? Is there something?
My least favorite thing, to completely honest, train journeys. I don't get that sardine can like mentality. I've literally been pushed onto a train, like with a guy with a board in his hand, and I'm convinced that this board was used. It's like one of those barricades, like what do they call it? The riot boards that they push people away with. I've been pushed onto.
Was that a conductor person?
Yes.
The uniform.
Yes. And it's
rush hour. Was it rush hour?
I don't even know.
Okay.
Like I was in the middle as well, and it just kept happening, and to the point where you're just like this, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, but where I'm from, if the train gets to a certain capacity, Scotland or England, that's it.
True.
You either get off.
You wait for the next one.
Yeah, but people will just keep going. Like I get it's the need to be somewhere at a certain time, and the need like to do it.
There's a lot of people in Tokyo.
But it's dangerous.
Yeah, look, I've actually been there with my face against the thing. Well, maybe not my face, but my hands. Like I'm right at the door. If it opens like randomly, I'm on my face.
Yes.
Right? I've experienced that. I call it, as you said, the sardine tin. It's like rush hour in Tokyo.
That's
your
my
least favorite thing.
That's my thing. I don't like it.
The journeys can be long. And the trains can be packed, right? It's like, that's one of my pet peeves as well. Okay, so guys, before we go, we might do a move. What's your favorite move? Or something that won't break my back or my neck?
Something that won't break your...
What's your favorite move to pull in the ring? What's your go-to move in the ring?
Powerbomb, but I don't want to break you. Yeah, I'm sure you've got other interviews to do. You got stuff you need to do. You got a life to get. You know, I don't want to take you away from your family. No, we don't need to do that.
Oh man.
Let's think,
guys.
I could put him in a camel clutch and let's see if you can withstand that.
Oh my gosh, I'm already sweating on the inside. My heart is beating fast. But you guys might see just now. Let's see what happens. But guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Ayesha Raymond. Like, this was an amazing interview. Remember, if you liked this interview, please give it a big thumbs up and remember to subscribe to this channel for weekly videos on the Black experience across the globe. Bye for now.
See ya.
Oh, snap.
I hope that got it.
It did, I think.
Is he at least kicking you up?
I'm still alive, but I felt that. I felt it right here.
He's right.
So, so guys, I'm still alive, but I felt it here. Look, this is no joke, okay? When y'all see it in the ring and these people are being slammed on this thing, even though it's not that hard, like, you feel the wind, like, leave your body, like...
But look, he's flying.
But I'm okay. I'm still alive, all right? Don't laugh. Don't laugh. I know there's gonna be comments down there like y'all laughing at me, okay? But trust me, like, she's really good. She's like a world champion, right?
Yes,
in many different countries. So this is no joke. So that was
what I call is the phantom roll. So it's a fisherman suplex.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I got rolled like a fish, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to share your story or have us visit your region, send us a message on any of our social media platforms or via our website.
That's good.